Hi, everyone. Landry Ethredge here with Ethredge Counseling Group. We're joined today by Claire Johnson, a therapist here in Charleston, South Carolina, here to talk to us about narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder, which I feel is a really hot topic right now. I have seen so many TikToks and Instagram reels about narcissism, so I'm really excited for this series to kind of dive in and see what is NPD, what is it not, what to do if you think you're in a relationship with a narcissist, maybe even what to do if you think you might be a narcissist, if you're noticing some traits. So, welcome, Claire. Thanks so much for chatting with us today about narcissism. When you think about narcissism, what is it that comes to mind? Like, what is if somebody maybe who's listening thinks that, man, I really kind of think my boyfriend or mom or spouse might be a narcissist, what are those characteristics? What is the criteria that somebody would need to meet to be a narcissist?
Yeah, so there's a few traits that are common for people with narcissism or with actually the narcissistic personality disorder. So the first is an overinflated sense of self-importance. It's also known as grandiosity. So someone who just thinks really highly of themselves and really an overinflated ego almost. They also tend to crave admiration and validation from others and will go to great lengths to achieve that. They believe that they're entitled to special treatment, so think that they should be treated better than other people, and look down on those who they see as less than themselves. And then they often tend to manipulate other people in order to get what they want. So don't show a lot of care for other people's feelings or well-being. It's more about getting what they want at the expense of other people. So those are probably the biggest traits that you see with people with narcissism.
Gotcha. Yeah. So for anybody who might be listening to that list and think, well, I mean, maybe I do some of those things sometimes. I've manipulated people to get what I want before. And I don't know, sometimes I do put myself first. Does that mean I'm a narcissist? How do you differentiate between, I don't know, maybe moments of selfishness or maybe narcissistic traits or characteristics versus like a disorder?
Yeah, so we all at times, I'm sure, have exhibited some of these traits and qualities at times in our lives. So it makes sense to question some of those things. But for someone to have the actual personality disorder, they have to meet certain criteria to actually be diagnosed with it. But um, and just generally, it's usually someone who these problems are really impacting their life. So each of those traits are very intense and severe, and then they show up in almost every area of their life, and it's pervasive. So it's
Mhm.
goes on for a long time. Usually, there's very little self-awareness, so um, they often don't know or really care if they're taking advantage of other people. So that's important in differentiating someone with maybe just some of these qualities versus someone with the actual disorder.
So if somebody's listening
Um,
to this and they're worrying, oh no, I think I might be a narcissist, that might be a sign that you're not, is what you're
yes,
saying.
exactly. Yeah. Because
If
there
you're
is some
really
self-awareness.
concerned about it and worried, yeah, then that's probably not going to be the case for you. But you said the word pervasive kind of stood out to
Mhm.
me. So these are characteristics and traits that are really throughout their
Mhm.
lifetime and all areas of their life. There's really consistent patterns of grandiosity or some of these other things. Is that what you're saying there?
Yeah, absolutely. And it tends to have a pretty severe impact on relationships. It's hard for them to maintain relationships or any kind of meaningful connection, and can also impact day-to-day functioning. So it can make it difficult to maintain a job. Just day-to-day life can be difficult because of these traits. So yeah, it's just much more severe.
Pretty severe, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, So why do you think it's important for people to educate themselves on narcissism?
Yeah, so being in a relationship with a narcissist, whether it's romantic or someone in your family or a coworker, it can be incredibly damaging. There's often emotional abuse involved. It can be, emotionally exhausting. You can be cut off from friends and family. Um, can be really impactful on your sense of self-worth. So, in general, it can be very damaging to engage in a relationship with a narcissist. So being educated, being able to pick up on some of these signs can be really helpful in getting out of that type of relationship early on before you get sucked in. Or if you find yourself already in that type of relationship and want to continue, just being educated on what the signs are and how to manage those dynamics can help you get through the relationship in a healthier way and protect your well-being.
So is there hope for people who are maybe already married to a narcissist and they've got kids? It's not easy to sort of extract themselves and maybe they're mostly happy in the relationship, or is there hope for a somewhat healthy relationship with a narcissist?
There can be. There has to be some things that are present for there to be hope. So there needs to be some level of self-awareness of how you're impacting the other person. It wouldn't be as much as someone without narcissism, but it's just some level of awareness. And there really needs to be a mutual commitment to growth. So some willingness to go to therapy, self-reflect, and work towards changing on, both partners need that.
Mhm.
And then you, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, need to have the tools to manage your own emotions, to set boundaries and enforce those boundaries. That's a necessary piece for
Mm,
engaging in that type of relationship.
mm.
Um, and yeah, there also can't be, intense emotional or physical abuse. So if you're not safe, then there really is no hope. But if all of these things are present, then it may be difficult, but it is possible.
It is possible. Well, that is so helpful. Thank you so much for chatting with us about this. For anybody listening, Claire has written a 5-part series on narcissism, and so many of the topics that relate to narcissism, like these cycles of abuse that can occur, um, and how to sort of manage relationships, what tools you need to have. So please take a look at that on the blog at ethridgecounseling.com. And again, Claire, thank you so much for chatting with us about this.
Of course, thanks for having me.